Looking for an electric SUV that doesn't compromise on space? Meet the all-new 2026 Ioniq 9, Hyundai's first three-row, all-electric EV. Space in an EV, finally. With an impressive 335-mile range, this isn't your typical EV. Go further with up to an estimated 150 miles of charge in just 15 minutes on the Ioniq RWD9S when using a 350-kilowatt DC ultra-fast charger and CCS adapter. Actual charge time may vary. Plus, with class-leading interior space, 7 high-powered USB-C ports, and advanced features like Highway Driving Assist 2, every journey is seamless. And for peace of mind, there's a 10-year, 100,000-mile battery warranty. Ready to explore more? Learn more about the Ioniq 9 at HyundaiUSA.com. Call 562-314-4603 for complete details.
Summer entertaining becomes effortless with Boar's Head. Their premium meats, cheeses, and tips elevate any gathering from casual poolside hangouts to elegant picnics. The new basil pesto and sweet barbecue hummus flavors add a fresh twist to the lineup, while their expanded charcuterie selection, now featuring olives, brings a touch of sophistication to any spread. Whether it's a fantastic 4th of July celebration or relaxed Labor Day get-together, Boar's Head products transform ordinary occasions into memorable experiences. For your next summer event, visit your local deli counter and explore the difference that true craftsmanship makes. Boar's Head, committed to craft since 1905.
The amazing Kate Casey.
Welcome back for another episode of Reality Life with Kate Casey, and I've got such a great episode for you today. I am joined by Dominick Pupa, co-host of Fixing Famous People podcast and also a longtime reality TV producer. And we're going to unpack the Netflix documentary, aka Charlie Sheen. Rebellious, magnetic, and undeniably charming, Charlie Sheen exploded onto the Hollywood scene in the 1980s. Fame came fast, but so did the chaos. And the documentary traces it, from his Malibu childhood to his breakthrough roles in Platoon and Wall Street, to comedies like Major League and Hot Shots. But his biggest success came on the small screen with 2.5 Men, which aired from 2003 to 2011, where he became one of TV's highest paid actors. Off screen, however, his story is just as infamous as his filmography. The son of Martin Sheen and younger brother of Emilio Estevez, he became as known for his controversies as for his career. High-profile relationships, including Denise Richards, whom he later married and had 2 kids with. You are familiar with her probably from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. But also his substance abuse, his legal issues, and those unforgettable 2011 media appearances where he declared that he was fueled by tiger blood and winning. In 2015, he revealed he was HIV positive, a diagnosis that he has carried since 2011. The documentary offers a candid look at his extreme highs and lows, blockbuster fame, addictions, scandals, and the rocky road towards sobriety. So we're going to break down his fast lane lifestyle, how it both propelled his rise and fueled his unraveling, and what his story reveals about fame, addiction, and the possibility, if there is possibility, of reinvention. So here is my episode with Dominick, and I just want to remind you to make sure that you click subscribe to this podcast and leave a 5-star review. I want to make sure that you get all new episodes, and they keep coming. So make sure you don't miss out on any of the episodes, and also make sure that you're subscribed to the What to Watch list of what to watch in unscripted TV at katecasey.substack.com. Again, here's my interview with Dominick. Dom, I've roped you back in. We have a lot to talk about. This doc about Charlie Sheen. I still feel like my head is in spins. So first of all, welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me. I love it. I love you. Hello, everyone.
So let's begin at the top.
Yeah.
How much did the beginning part of this doc, going through his career and life, did it bring on feelings of nostalgia for you at all?
1,000,000,000%.
Me too.
And I was sort of primed for it because on my podcast, on our podcast, Fixing Famous People, we actually did an episode about Charlie Sheen over the summer. I think we taped it in the late summer. It aired in July. And when we're talking, we do one celebrity a week. We fix one celebrity a week there. And as we were going through Charlie Sheen, I get on people for overusing the word iconic, but he was there the whole time. He was in Ferris Bueller. Platoon was a major motion picture launching the careers of a billion people. Wall Street, like just Major League, like if you don't know of what I'm talking, you're just much younger than me. But for people my age, he was there. Like we sort of all grew up watching him grow up on screen, and he's been in a lot of major projects, but it's just at the turn of the century, you only knew him as a crackhead,
Right.
with troubled marriages, causing scenes and getting fired from the best job on television, et cetera, et cetera. And you just forget that he was a celebrity. He's a Nepo baby, but he was also a celebrity for a reason, which this documentary also reminded me. He is very intoxicating and very compelling. Like, I love that they sat him at a diner, which is just a place where you would go and just yammer with your friends for hours and hours. He's that dude. Like, and people in the doc, including his friends, his fucking drug dealer, excuse my language.
I know, a drug dealer.
They were all just like, this is a great guy. We hate to see this happen to him. This is a great guy. To the point where the drug dealer was like, over the course of a year and a half, I kept reducing the potency of his crack to help him get better. I'm like, girl, how about you just stop giving him crack?
Well, also, I was like, how are you not in prison for admitting that you were a crack dealer?
What? I mean, that immunity deal, or that he must have something ironclad with his lawyer before sitting down and saying, hi, I'm Charlie Sheen's drug dealer.
No kidding.
Crazy.
Well, okay, so when we go back to his origin story and the fact that he's raised by this super famous actor, and he's growing up in a time where you can pretty much do anything, and he's got an actor father. I'm obsessed with the fact that all these young actors grew up together.
Insane.
So Rob Lowe, George Clooney,
Sean Penn.
I was at a lunch one time with Michael Penn, brother of Sean and Chris Penn.
Who appears in this doc as well.
And I almost lost my mind. So the fact they all were growing up together, Jennifer Grey, Holly Robinson Pete, all grew up together. And I wondered, how much do you think his inability to get checked by anybody was because of the immense celebrity of his father?
Maybe. What was really dawning on me was that, first of all the references to Malibu being a rural community when they moved there, I was glued, absolutely glued. And all these Super 8 videos of him and his brother Emilio Estevez and the other boys who are now gray-haired men speaking in this documentary, like all of them in these, I was encouraged by seeing that he was sort of a student of film, that he wasn't just a Nepo baby in the way where it's like, you're just this person's son, go give them a job. Like he was on the set of Apocalypse Now, which I loved about Martin Sheen, that he insisted on having his family with him on film sets. I'm sure they didn't realize they'd have to spend a year in the jungles of the Philippines, but it seemed like it was like it really broadened his horizons. It was film school. It was better than film school, to grow up in an environment like that. And I loved that he wasn't just a de facto celebrity. I love that he and his friends, who are now mostly Oscar winners now, which is absolutely hilarious, that they were all making these films when they were kids and trying to do provincial duplicates of what they saw on the sets of the movies that their parents were doing. I liked that. It made me feel, obviously when you're a Nepo baby, you are handed something to a certain extent, but it seemed like they were doing their best not to just fall into it. Like they loved movies, and I loved that. I love that part of it.
Have you ever read the Vanity Fair article about the making of Apocalypse Now? Because if for those of people who have not read it yet, and I encourage people to do so, you realize just how daunting the project was and the mental load that it took for all the participants. So when he talked about going to set, I'm already wondering, is this where he starts to get is
this what screwed him up? Sure.
Yeah, this is the beginning of it. What did you think?
Yeah, yes and no. I was more drawn toward his father not being as big of a star as I thought until after Apocalypse Now. You know what I mean? Like in my head, Martin Sheen had been like a beloved, and he certainly was beloved, but he wasn't like an A-list star. Like the documentary went out of its way to point out that they didn't grow up as rich as Charlie Sheen became. Like they were sort of, they made it seem like this was an upper middle class family, but very tight and very full of love and very full of faith, which I was also surprised about. I don't think I knew that necessarily about Martin Sheen.
Devout
Catholic. I didn't know.
Yeah.
And you know why you don't think that about him is because Charlie Sheen's his kid.
Yeah,
like,
truly.
It sort of like removes the shine of that from somebody. Martin Sheen comes out of this documentary looking like the father of the year, to be honest with you. I mean, like so dedicated and so in love. And that's another, I know I'm hopping all over the place, but another great note that I took from this is that addiction truly, like, I don't know if you could pinpoint why it happens to certain people in certain ways, but this guy was surrounded by love and opportunity. I mean, he was in a moment where he was in an environment where you think, well, someone with these tools, this isn't going to happen to that person. And it truly can happen to anybody. And anytime he fell off the wagon, Martin Sheen stopped what he was doing, would stage press conferences deliberately to make it public, to sort of piss his son off and force him to get himself better, which was, good. I mean, I think there are things about addiction that one can learn from this documentary. What I learned from it is just like the way Charlie paints it, it was happenstance. It was, I was with this girl and she gave me crack one night and I was like, this is a bad idea, but I'm going to do it anyway. And then that was it. And then that was the end of his century, basically. That direct line from there to Brooke Mueller to him getting fired from 2.5 Men. It made it's almost like a straight line after that.
I remember I interviewed he's a well-known speaker and the subject of a documentary, and Chris Herron, a basketball player. And I remember him telling me, well, it began with me going back to my dorm. It was the second day of school at Boston College, and my roommate had a line of cocaine for me. And then it was like all off the cliff after that. So I think you're right that there are some people, it just takes that one time. And that certainly seems to be the case with him. It was like all of everything was all set up for him to just drive off that cliff. And it does seem like he's got two personalities. Of course, he's born Carlos Estevez, but he reinvents himself as an actor using his father's stage name. By the way, side note, very interesting that he resented his dad for making him follow through on a project and therefore he couldn't be Karate Kid.
That's his, I don't know how, but of course his entire life would be different had he taken that role. But he makes good points about, obviously Karate Kid was a behemoth. It had 5 spinoffs, but like, Ralph Macchio wasn't exactly, he wasn't the Michael J. Fox of the 80s and 90s that people thought he would be. He just was the Karate Kid. And then he did My Cousin Vinny, and then he appeared in Cobra Kai. Like that's what we know about Ralph Macchio. And I liked the sly way that Charlie was like, I might have given up a big movie, but I don't think I traded like a better career for what I had. And he probably didn't, actually.
Also notable that Martin and Emilio were asked to participate and they declined. What do you make of that?
It was one of my first notes within the first 10 minutes was immediately missing Emilio's input, like immediately, even more so than Martin, because I think who Martin is as a person is painted very clearly right from the top. And who Emilio, I didn't really get a sense of who Emilio was from the documentary. And I wanted to hear from this person who's probably even closer to him than his dad, you would think.
Yes.
Also, how hot was Emilio Estevez when he was young? Jesus.
By the way, funny you say that.
Jesus. Wait, is he in your house right now?
No. Well, kind of, because my husband has been told he looks like Emilio Estevez his entire life.
Really?
Yeah, he kind of does. Well, when they were showing the archival stuff, I was like,
no wonder you have so many children. You can't stay away from him. I'd be all over my husband if he looked like that too.
Yeah, it's wild. Let's talk about his relationships and lack thereof. So he has 5 children. He's pretty honest about his inability to be a present father throughout most of the duration of their adolescence.
Sure.
Irritating to hear as a mother myself. And sometimes he's sort of flippant about it. And you begin to get a sense the charismatic, jovial, likable person also begins to nosedive as he ramps up his drug use. And the amount of people that have tried to cover for him and make peace with him at times where with the ebbs and the flows of his addiction.
Sure.
But the worst of all are the kids. The daughter, the oldest, Cassandra, did not participate. Of course, we see Bob, one of the twins, later on, and Lola as well. But notable to me that not all of the kids participated. And then you wonder just the level of despair that they have experienced over their life because of his addiction issues and personality problems, frankly.
I have many friends who grew up in violent and addiction-heavy households, and they are, I've discussed this with them, they're different people. I didn't grow up in a household like that. I'm certainly not making a judgment call, but they are different people. And you can see it when Bob is speaking about his mother at the end of the documentary. And he's a kid. And you're looking at him, and this is a kid looking at an interviewer and saying, mom's having a good day. We're all having a good day. If she's not, we hold our breath and we see. Heartbreaking to grow up like that, and not uncommon. Not in America. Certainly, it's not uncommon. But they are definitely the two kids who did participate. You could see how much they idolize their dad. Yeah, I think when they're interviewed, who's it? Bob, and then Lola's the other twin, right? Right.
No, that Bob has a brother, but Lola is the daughter of Denise Richards.
But she spoke, right? She was the daughter who spoke in the doc because he doesn't speak to Sammy, and I can't remember why he doesn't speak to her, and that wasn't addressed here. But one child from each of the last two marriages participated, and they love him, especially Lola. The way she speaks about him is like she just loves him. She just loves him so much, and Bob does too. I love that he's sort of making up for maybe what he missed out with on the three girls. With his sons now, like I love their little system of Charlie Sheen leaves Post-it notes everywhere, all over the house for his son. Like Satan says, "Don't eat these cookies" or whatever the fun, like really funny shit. And it's like it feels like he's catching up now, or doing his version of it. Yeah.
Is your AI built to work with your business's data? IBM helps you integrate and govern unstructured data wherever it lives, so your business can have more accurate AI instead of just more of it. Get your data ready for AI at IBM.com. The AI built for business. IBM.
How hard is it to kill a planet? Maybe all it takes is a little drilling, some mining, and a whole lot of carbon pumped into the atmosphere. When you see what's left, it starts to look like a crime scene.
Are we really safe? Is our water safe? You destroyed our town.
And crimes like that, they don't just happen.
We call things accidents. There is no accident. This was 100% preventable.
They're the result of choices by people. Ruthless oil tycoons, corrupt politicians, even organized crime. These are the stories we need to be telling about our changing planet. Stories of scams, murders, and cover-ups that are about us and the things we're doing to either protect the Earth or destroy it. Follow Lawless Planet on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to new episodes of Lawless Planet early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
You also get the sense that Denise, and I think she does say, "I still love him," and she begins to cry. And you know that she has been quite damaged because of the relationship. I still think she's got a little bit of patron saint in her because her patience and level of decency, despite the circumstances that she married into and had to endure, especially having to raise children with this man, is astounding.
The Denise Richards that we saw in this documentary is, to me, the real Denise Richards. Like, just the coolest person, so down to earth, obviously not judgmental because you can't be married to Charlie Sheen and have that be part of your personality.
Mm-hmm.
And I've said this on stage in my show many times. Like, there are many years in the past 5 years where the greatest question of our time is, Denise Richards, why do you keep returning to Real Housewives of Beverly Hills? Like, that Denise Richards is like, that's not her. Like, she never, I hate that there's a generation of people, anyone who watched Denise Richards spiral and be drunk or goofy or get tied up with Brandi Glanville on Beverly Hills, watch this Charlie Sheen documentary, because she's an earth mother. I mean, she's over there literally making sandwiches for Charlie's hookers who are upstairs. And Charlie's friends are looking at her going, what are you doing? And she's like, am I supposed to not give you turkey on white bread because you're a prostitute? I mean, we all have to eat. I mean, she reacted to things in the way that we all say we would never react. So to call her a patron saint, her and Martin Sheen look like absolute heroes in this documentary. Like, I was hopeful when I finished watching it yesterday that the crazy Denise Richards that 2025 Planet Earth knows from Beverly Hills, I want that person washed away, because the Denise in this documentary is like, she's an aspirational human. Like, that's how you treat people, you know? Really great. She got out of it. She should have gotten out of that marriage, but she was still loyal to him. You know, it's very much like when I say I love someone, I truly mean it forever, even if we're not going to be married. And she did that. She does it still. He would be dead without her. There's no...
Well, she's the one who said, I think that you have HIV. It didn't occur to him. He thought it just was a drug withdrawal. And also, I did see that she went to the opening of the doc and supported him.
Oh, good.
Yeah. I feel like John Cryer was a real standout. He, of course, was his co-star on 2.5 Men. And I thought that he did a great job of just putting the whole thing into perspective, that there are so many people that jumped on the train. Like, he's saying what everybody thinks, and he's so cool. And at the heart of it is a person who was deeply troubled and was spiraling, and how disturbing that is to look back in retrospect.
And it also is another POV that you don't hear about when someone is an addict. I mean, you always hear about what they're doing to themselves. You know how hard it is on their family. You rarely think about that there are coworkers relying on people who are addicts. Like, there are people whose livelihoods are tied into, you know, you don't have to be like the head of a sitcom. You could be just someone's immediate supervisor or employee at work and have a problem where you don't show up at work for days at a time, and you're screwing with the livelihood or the workflow, and ergo the personal lives of people that aren't even in your sphere, because you are an addict. And I loved that point of view. And he was brutally honest about it. He's like, well, you know, wow, Charlie's giving up his livelihood. And, you know, you try not to be a dick, but this is kind of also my livelihood. So if Charlie doesn't come to work, I don't get paid. Like, I don't have a job either. So it's like, I want to love this person and care for him, but I also have my own fucking family to take care of. So it's like, sure, I want you to be healthy, but I also need you to show up so I can take care of my family. It was just an interesting POV about how addiction, the circles, is it concentric circles? Is that what I'm thinking of? Like the widening of them, like it really does affect a lot of people.
Well, also, he is looking at the archival footage and saying, I don't even remember that person or recognize them. And the tornado that someone like Charlie Sheen creates, all the people that are stuck in it and then spit out of it. And when you're in the center of it and someone is not getting the required help and they're spiraling, and you are doing everything in your power to get them help and they refuse it. I thought it was a very honest portrayal of what happens when someone is in the throes of drug abuse. And also, it sounds like bipolar and someone in a period of like a manic period.
Well, there's also, you know, I am not a doctor or a psychiatrist. I think what you're saying tracks, but also he did an amount of drugs that probably altered his chemistry that I don't know. He may not have been any of these things. He might have just been a person susceptible to addiction who met the wrong people at the wrong time. It is possible, but then just became so addicted that it just changed who he was. And really, like, the person narrating the doc was, to me, visibly a very different person than the winning Tiger's Blood warlock guy who got fired from 2.5 Men. Like, he had different mannerisms. He sounded different. He acted different. Like, this was a very, now I know he's an actor, obviously, but he was just very calm and engaging, you know, narrating us through what happened the past 60 years and seeing video of the peak Charlie Sheen when he was an absolute mess. It did appear to be a different person. It really does.
Still, everything that he says, I'm like, is he a reliable narrator? Because then we're going to move into this question of whether or not something happened with Corey Haim in the 80s. And he admits at the end that he has had relationships with men and sexual experimentation. And I really wanted to know what you thought about that.
It was the only part. There were two moments in the documentary where I got taken out of it, because it's very hard for, I am a former reality television producer. It's very hard when you're in a certain business and you're witnessing things in those business, you can't be an actual spectator. So from the time it starts, I'm critiquing like the choices they're making, how it's produced, and I have to focus. Like, I'm going on Kate's podcast tomorrow. We have to talk about content. No one gives a shit about what this old faggot thinks about the way it's lit or the questions that are being asked. But there were two things that stood out to me. And one of them was this giant deal that was made about him hooking up with guys, and it just fell flat to me. It was like, because they're like, everyone leave the room. Okay, it's just going to be the interviewer and Charlie. We got everyone out of here. Now let's talk about the stuff that you've never talked about before. And I don't know. I saw no need for there to be this. This was like the 11 p.m. reveal of the documentary. It's like, he hooked up with men, because immediately as a gay man, the first thing that comes into my head is like, oh, are we now blaming gays for him having HIV here? But they never made that connection. But the connection was made in my head. He has said before that it wasn't from, they didn't discuss it in the documentary how he got HIV, nor is it our business. But he has been public before about it not being from sex. Like, he has said that it was from drug use. I don't know if he's changed his stance on that. But they sort of lost me because they made such a big deal out of it, and they were trying to pry a little bit too much into. They wanted him to make an admission that he wasn't going to make, and he was just casual about it, which I liked how he handled it. I wasn't really thrilled about how the documentary handled it.
Okay. Because I was looking at it as, are they trying to build a narrative that he was suppressing his sexuality and that the drug use provided an opportunity for him to explore that? And being raised in a time and an industry in which someone may be rejected for their own truth.
Sure.
That was him finally becoming the person that he had always wanted to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like they would have been honest about that. I feel like in this doc, maybe it would have come forward. And I also think he's in a position now to be whatever he wants, you know? So
yeah,
I don't know. I think he's probably just as fluid as any person is. And maybe people don't know how fluid they are because they don't allow themselves to be, but that's just what I felt it was. I do think that, you know, any sort of drug is going to lower your inhibitions and you're going to start exploring with that part of yourself. It's interesting that's what you thought, because that's normally what I would think. I was so hung up on the way it was getting produced that it didn't really occur to me like, oh, has he been gay the whole time? I was just like, don't blame us for HIV, because he was like using drugs for years and years. Like, don't make that the excuse. But and when nothing came of it, I was just like, this isn't really, I don't know. It didn't seem like that big of a deal. The other thing that bothered me in the beginning was I sort of was primed to think that this director was a little bit of a sycophant, which I think Charlie has had so much of in his life that's why he's been peaking and valleying all these years, because there was in the beginning when they're talking about Charlie being a celebrity and a little fucked up and someone lets him fly a plane and there's 300 people on the plane.
Yeah.
And Charlie Sheen's just telling this story and he's just like, Charlie Sheen's making the point, like, I was a celebrity, I could do whatever I want. And I realized sometimes I have to curtail myself. And then you hear the director chime in like, did you feel untouchable? Did you feel like you could do anything you wanted? I'm like, that isn't what he felt. That's what you're doing to him. You're making him the Tiger Blood Warlock winning dude by frat boying these questions. Like, did you feel untouchable? He would have said that. He just told you he flew a plane. You don't have to pull it out of him. And it just sort of made me just instantly, I'm done. I want the fourth wall put back up in all productions, in all I'm done with it. It was a fun experiment. Now it's just dumb. I don't want to hear anyone's voice.
Yeah.
I want straight Laguna. I want straight The Hills. I want season 1 of every early Housewives. I don't want to know anyone's working there but the people on the show. Because it's gotten to be, I can't hear it because everyone on a crew who's breaking that fourth wall has an agenda. That guy's not there because he gives a fuck about Charlie Sheen. He's not trying to get the better story. He's trying to twist he's trying to create something. And I'm sort of done with the fourth wall.
My problem was, I think we just really smoothed over all of the things that he did to women, all of subjecting a woman to HIV, not being honest about it, the emotional abuse, the physical abuse. We just sort of smoothed over that. So that is my high note.
And they very barely carefully tried to satiate you in the doc, because that is when the director kept breaking the fourth wall. It's like, so you've never passed this on to anybody. 100%. There is no way for Charlie Sheen to know if he passed it on. It doesn't mean we need to demonize him. Like, everyone's responsible for protecting their own bodies, but there is literally no way in science or heaven that Charlie Sheen is able to know whether or not he passed on HIV to anybody. There's simply not.
And also,
unless someone's going to DM me, he only slept with 3 people during that 1 year, which we know isn't true.
No. I don't get the sense at the end that he feels terribly bad about anything that he did. I mean, it maybe in some ways, but like the overarching feeling is, I don't have any regrets. I live the way I've lived my life, and it is what it is. And that I had a problem with too.
What should he do though? And I'm not being snarky. Like, what could he do? You know what I mean? To make up for it. I was thinking about it a little bit too at the end. Like, I think showing the Post-its that he left his son was the director's way of saying, this guy is making amends. But it was sort of the only way. You know, like him sort of getting back together with his kids was the only like repenting that was done. I need an entire documentary on the drug dealer, how he was allowed to give his first and last name.
I know.
From his apartment in Hollywood. And I'm like, what, why?
Okay, how also, I'm like, you chose Brooke Mueller probably because she was already an addict. So that's what they had together. But when they are reunited at the end, it's so weird, like their interaction. He's like, oh, hi, thank you for participating. Thanks for coming on. And it's been great. And blah, blah, blah. It was just so weird. It's like you had twins with this woman and these children desperately need help. And it was just very transactional. And I thought like, I bet this is the way he's run his life since he was 18.
Yeah, probably.
On Boxing Day 2018, 20-year-old Joy Morgan was last seen at her church, Israel United in Christ, or IUIC.
I just went on my Snapchat and I just see her face plastered everywhere.
This is The Missing Sister, the true story of a woman betrayed by those she trusted most.
IUIC is my family and like the best family that I've ever had.
But IUIC isn't like most churches.
This is a devilish cult.
You know when you get that feeling where I don't want to be here. I want to get out. It's like that feeling of, like, I want to go hang out.
I'm Charlie Brinkhurst-Cuff, and after years of investigating Joy's case, I need to know, what really happened to Joy? Binge all episodes of The Missing Sister exclusively and ad-free right now on Wondery Plus. Start your free trial of Wondery Plus on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or in the Wondery app.
Hi, I'm Denise Chan, host of Scam Factory. You might remember hearing about our investigative series that exposed what's really happening behind those suspicious texts you get. Inside heavily guarded compounds across Asia, thousands are trapped and forced to scam others or risk torture. One of our most powerful stories was Jella's, a young woman who thought she'd found her dream job, only to end up imprisoned in a scam compound. Her escape story caught the attention of Criminal's Phoebe Judge, and I'm honored to share more details of Jella's journey with their audience. But Jella's story is just one piece of this investigation. In Scam Factory, we reveal how a billion-dollar criminal empire turns job seekers into prisoners, and how the only way out is to scam your way out. Ready to uncover the full story? Binge all episodes of Scam Factory now. Listen to Scam Factory on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Also, the overarching feeling of like, privileged, white, straight man gets everything that he wants. Had that been a woman or a person of color who had experienced any of those things professionally or personally, they would have been written off. But this guy is like Harold, like he's a hero.
Well, when he speaks about Brooke and, you know, he's like, no, we're not blaming anyone here. He says in his interview, we're not blaming anyone. I'm just trying to draw a line from like A to B. B being when I got fired from 2.5 Men. It's like, so you're not trying to blame anybody? Yes, you are. Yeah. Like you're trying to make it a collective, and it just never is. You have to be responsible for your own actions. And I think he's good at pretending that he's responsible for it all, but he definitely feels like this is the mess that is Charlie Sheen. I believe Charlie Sheen thinks is a shared responsibility with all these other people.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow, and look, I don't know the details of what I know is the stuff that I heard about him being very damaging with women. The few incidents that I knew about, he seemed to be dispelled by his ex-wives in the documentary about like the recanting of statements and all this other stuff. Like they were, and it didn't go unnoticed by me that these two women who probably sought to lose the most by being associated with him were sort of lifting him up, both of them.
Yeah, but he has a way with it because like we're not going to blame anybody. He's like a constant mind trickery.
Yeah, he is from Hollywood. I mean, he talks like someone from Hollywood. He speaks like the son of an acting legend. He speaks like someone who's been speaking to adults on an adult level since he was a kid, which is what happens on a movie set or in Roman Polanski's hot tub. I'm so sorry. That was so inappropriate. I'm so
but
sorry.
It's true.
But it's the truth and the same time period. So you can tell.
I don't have any reason to not believe what Corey Feldman has said about Corey Haim.
The only thing. And first of all, Charlie Sheen reminds me of Corey Feldman. Like there are moments when he's talking that I feel like they could be
I could see that.
related. There's like there's like a visual resemblance. When it comes to Corey Haim, I did raise an eyebrow about his mother saying that this information wasn't true.
Well, maybe he didn't tell her, but he sure as hell would tell his best friend.
Right, it's a line you drop and you're like, you know, that's like saying, well, I have black friends, and then just like letting it hang and walking away. It's like, well, his mom says it's okay. It's like, why does she say that? Like, Phil, don't make an excuse for why your behavior is okay and then walk away. Like, bring on Corey's mom and let's hear the story.
And also, I didn't want to sue. I don't want to give that goon any more attention, so I didn't sue. I'm like, is that the reason?
Because unless I'm wrong, there was one of the Coreys identified a different person as a guy who sexually abused them both.
Well, I think there were multiple people
when they were
probably.
kids. I'm sure. But I remember Charlie Sheen's name moving out of that conversation when they identified the person who is still alive, I think.
Yes.
A producer. And that sort of got Charlie off the hook as well.
Mm. I think
we discussed this when we were fixing him too. Like a couple of people were like, are you sure you want to do this? Like, because, we have a list of celebrities called unfixables who we won't try to fix. I mean, it's like Diddy, Cosby, Harvey Weinstein,
sure.
But there are always, and we did have to disclaimer a couple of times during that hour of fixing him, where it's like, we know that there's a lot of accusations here. We're still saying believe all women, and sort of trying to qualify why we were doing it and not putting him on the unfixables list, because I don't know, through this all, he must have a great team, because he's still, even when you watch the documentary, he's just got that. He's lovable. He's just a lovable person. Like, I watch the documentary. I would occasionally watch an episode of 2.5 Men only when visiting my parents, who absolutely are like Chuck Lorre acolytes. Like, there's anything that guy cranks out, they're just addicted to it, without knowing that he's the one doing it, by the way. Like, he's tapped into my parents' brains. And I would watch it and just be like, wow, this is god awful, but I'm glad you found something that you like. I'm sure you don't like Drag Race. I'm going to sit over here on my phone. You sit here on YouTube. And it was just so god awful, but he appeals to so many people because he's an easy person to be jealous of. And he played the character of Charlie Sheen really well until it fell apart. And I love that in the doc too, where they're just basically saying, on 2.5 Men, they were looking for a Charlie Sheen type, and the head of the network was like, let's just get him to do it. Yeah. And he played him. He played the better version of himself. Obviously, he evolved into something worse, but
I mean, there's no argument he's supremely talented. Very good at
he is. He's talented, and just really, he's just one of those people you just want to hang out with him. He's just sort of intoxicating. I can see how people around him would feel cool hanging around him. Like they would think it would make them cool as well. And he's just one of those he's that cool, hot friend that everyone makes excuses for, basically, because they still want to be friends with him. And some of them still are. Again, his drug dealer appears in this documentary.
On paper,
his drug dealer
you would go,
and his ex-wives.
And people, you'd be like, no way. Well, we're telling you, it happened. It happened. Well, I need, to your point, I need a doc about what happens to that guy after this comes out.
I mean, literally in this documentary is an ex-wife who speaks glowingly of him moments after we hear her 911 call on Christmas Eve of Charlie Sheen's going to kill me. Oh yeah, I recanted that. It was a crazy night. I recanted that.
And
all right, there's another hook he got up.
He's doing a great job as a dad. I'm like, are we living on planet Earth? What is happening?
We have different,
yeah.
It's a controversial term, Dad. What does it really mean?
What does it mean? Lord knows I didn't have one. I'm fine. And now I'm married.
I would also
Emilio
like to point
Estevez.
out, Emilio Estevez, hot as hell. Like he was hot in Breakfast Club, but even like the pre-Breakfast Club Emilio, Madon, so gorgeous. Missed him here. I looked up last night. Now, Charlie and Martin Sheen have not worked on a ton of stuff together, but they worked on enough stuff that the movie and music licensing for this documentary, this had to be the biggest line in the budget, because they used so much footage from every Charlie Sheen show and movie and used it spectacularly as though they were scenes from Charlie's real life. When Charlie would talk about arguing with his father, they would take a scene from a movie that Charlie and Martin did together where they were playing father and son, screaming at each other. I thought it was genius. I thought that aspect of it, and having so much source material, and of course, being able to afford it, which is a thing, like a real thing. Like, they had clips from all of his stuff there. It must have cost $1 million just for that.
Oh my Lord.
It was crazy. But that part of the documentary was really good. At 18 minutes and 40 seconds, you might hear a little lady named Cher singing Bang Bang as part of the soundtrack. Just a side note.
By the way, I feel like I just saw Cher walk out on stage at a Cyndi Lauper concert. Did I see that?
She was at the Hollywood Bowl last week. Yep. She was at the Hollywood Bowl. And then last night, I mean, today is Thursday. So last night she was at a Valentino party at Studio 54 here in New York. I did not know she was going to be there. Yes, I would have stood outside with my phone.
Without question.
Mag light. But yeah, she's in New York. Usually I feel it when she's here, but I don't know. I must have been.
The other question I have for you that I've yet to talk to you about is your feelings about the Mariska Hargitay doc.
Give her the Oscar. Like I would campaign on the street. Yeah. I mean, I feel like she's going to win because she's certainly going to get nominated. It would be a shock if she didn't. I don't know if she'll win, but she should. I mean, she is. This is a moment in time a la Julia Roberts in Erin Brockovich. Like, is it the greatest thing we've ever seen? No, but it's certainly good enough that it's time we just did something for her. So just give it to her. And the documentary itself is just so compelling. It's such, and then finding out as an adult that that's not, I mean, I don't want to spoil the documentary, but it is much, it's not a puff piece. It's harrowing. It is literally harrowing. And really just, you could have called that documentary so many different things. The business of being a sex symbol. Like Jane Mansfield was in fucking Mensa, basically. Like Jane Mansfield was playing the role of Jane Mansfield her entire career. And talking about it on every talk show when people just weren't believing her, you know?
And no one believed her. Yeah.
Goes on those talk shows, plays concert piano, sits there, and they say, "Do you like this in real life?" No, this is not who I am in real life. All right. Well, shake your tits anyway. Like that was literally her whole life. Crazy.
Had no choice. There's no other way she would have been successful in that period of time.
No.
Well, we have gone over quite a bit. Tell everybody what you're working on Fixing Famous People and where they can follow you.
Please come to Fixing Famous People. We have a wonderful Patreon as well. Each week we spend about a half hour talking about the week in pop culture, and then the second half hour talking about a celebrity that we're trying to fix and get off the canceled list, provided they haven't rape, murder, the things that would make you unfixable. Right. And it's a lot of fun. My website is domandterry.com. My socials are at Dominick Pupa. You can find at Fixing Famous People on Instagram. And I am just, I think, 2 weeks away from announcing the dates and locations for my holiday tour this year. I go on I'm also a comedian.
Yes.
And I will be going on tour beginning, I believe, December 1st in Seattle and ending December 27th in London, England, with about 12 or 13 places in between. So yes, still hammering that all out. And in about 2 weeks, we'll let you know where we're going to be.
And will you be singing holiday songs, or is that part of it?
I sing holiday parodies.
Good, perfect.
And I fill them in with pop culture topics as well.
How long does it take you to write out these songs?
Doing a pop culture podcast, I'm writing it all the time. I write it sort of all year long and swap things out. That will be funny. Like Snoop Dogg being afraid of lesbians stopped my writing process because I knew that there needed to be an entire 3 minutes of the show about how utterly fucking ridiculous that statement is. Truly. And I'm not even mad at him. There are many listeners of the podcast who are writing me. They're like, you need to put him on the unfixables list. I'm like, I'm not, because I know the difference between an actual homophobe and a moron. And he's just a moron, truly.
I still think that episode we did about Meghan Markle is one of the funniest ever.
It's hilarious.
When you pointed out that the last thing you want people to do when they visit you is to take a bath in your bathroom, I lost my mind.
I'm serious. Don't. Yeah. A bathtub in someone's home is only meant for the people on the deed or the lease. You are never to leave a ring of anything in my bathtub. How dare you even ask?
Can you imagine someone coming out of their room and be like, I was just in their bathtub? You'd be like, well, but why?
The first thing I would say is, did you wipe it out? I'm not even joking.
Especially because
Don't come out of there dripping wet. Where have you been? I took a bath. Where? In your bathroom. Are you serious?
Especially because, that's probably where someone's dog is washed.
I pee on that surface every day. And you just took a bath in there? What is wrong with you?
The amazing Kate Casey.
I want to thank my great guest, Dominick Pupa. and remind you to make sure that you click subscribe to my podcast and leave a 5-star review, and also for Fixing Famous People. And then make sure that you check out my bonus episodes on Apple Podcast and on Patreon at patreon.com/KateCasey. Make sure that you are subscribed to my What to Watch list at katecasey.substack.com, and that you're in the Facebook group, Reality Life with Kate Casey. And lastly, make sure that you follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram at @KateCaseyCA, TikTok, it's Kate Casey, and Twitter, Threads, and Blue Sky at Kate Casey. Check back tomorrow for an all-new episode.
It's your man, Nick Cannon, and I'm here to bring you my new podcast, Nick Cannon at Night. I've heard y'all been needing some advice in the love department. So who better to help than yours truly? Nah, I'm serious. Every week, I'm bringing out some of my celebrity friends and the best experts in the business to answer your most intimate relationship questions. Having problems with your man? We got you. Catching feelings for your sneaky link? Let's make sure it's the real deal first. Ready to bring toys into the bedroom? Let's talk about it. Consider this a non-judgment zone to ask your questions when it comes to sex and modern dating in relationships, friendships, situationships, and everything in between. It's gonna be sexy, freaky, messy, and you know what? You'll just have to watch the show. So don't be shy. Join the conversation and head over to YouTube to watch Nick Cannon at Night, or subscribe on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. Want to watch episodes early and ad-free? Join Wondery Plus right now.